Hey, it's your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. And much love going out to the empowered harmonizers. I want to zoom in and focus in on a great viewer question. And that was really how to overcome the dependency needs, or really how to deal when your dependency needs are not being met in a narcissist relationship. And before we get started, I just once again want to give a huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated to the channel and your well wishes for a speedy recovery. Thank you so much for stepping up to the plate and letting me know that this content is hitting home, what's valuable, important to you, and interacting here on the channel. So thank you so much for your viewership and your support. So let's zoom in and let's dive in on understanding that. When we talk about dependency needs, it needs to know that someone is reliable, can be trusted, can be counted on, but without exploiting you for your dependency, not making you feel ashamed, not making you feel like you are a burden, like you are a hindrance, like you are a hamper to them, like you are inferior for having or expressing your emotions. When we talk about when people's dependency needs are not being met, such in a relationship with a cluster B, someone who is empathy deficient or empathy impaired or without empathy at all, like we see in the psychopath, then very likely your dependency needs are not being met. In other words, this person is not reliable. They're not dependable. What you see is not what you get, meaning that oftentimes there is a public persona, a facade, a mask with which they put forth into the world, and oftentimes it gravitates or they attract people who will be in support of that facade. And if you're not, if you are to do, say, or be something which either steals their limelight, takes away the attention from them, then oftentimes they are not going to be supportive or dependable to you in those situations. In other words, they're not going to have the security to reflect back to you your positive traits. They're not going to have the security to reflect back and be able to listen to you. In other words, they can't put their needs on the back burner. Their needs are always on the front burner. And they are oftentimes very rigid and inflexible to this. And when you bring up something as a natural human need, like when you're sick, for them to slow down or to stop by or to understand that you can't do something, they will oftentimes, those people who are empathy deficient will have unrealistic demands of you, and they will be unwavering. They will be lacking in compassion. They'll be lacking in empathy. They'll be lacking in sympathy, and oftentimes you will not get a heartfelt response from them. And so it's very difficult and very painful to be in relationships where your dependency needs are not being met. And oftentimes people then are oftentimes led to believe after the love bombing that they must suppress their needs in order for love to occur or to take place in their life. In other words, they get so tolerant, or they have basically like an addiction tolerance to the abuse, that it's just business as usual for them. And they don't know how to expand their emotional repertoire to include other things, like being decisive, like having free will, like being able to exercise your choice, open up yourself to other experiences, or validate yourself and make sure that you do have your dependency needs met. And in very abusive relationships, it's very difficult to even know or own the fact that you have dependency needs. And so even if you have been in a state where maybe you're, you're physically disabled or something of that nature, where you're now depending on that person, you can still exercise your free will and your independence in all areas of your life that you can. And, you might need to look for state support if you're, depending on these people financially, because oftentimes those people who hold the finances hold the key. In other words, the power, the key to the kingdom, the power in your life. And it's very sad when these people take advantage of that and like try to, rub it in and say, well, you know who's boss, and you don't have the money around here, or, exploit people on, the most vulnerable people. So it's very important to understand what independence is and understand what self-reliance is and autonomy, and being able to look to yourself for answers and have a secure attachment within yourself. And oftentimes that means being able to rely and count on yourself and have a sense of closeness and warmth with yourself, if that makes any sense. It's the ability to have compassion and control. And we work on this. We really develop this in the recovery notebook, in the automatic writing, the recovery pages first thing in the morning, where you spill your heart first thing in the morning on the page, where you just write free conscious writing right there on the page. And I recommend 3 hands long, handwriting. This is not to be typed. It's meant to be handwritten, and where basically you can spill forth. It doesn't have to be flowery, pretty, meaningful, poetic, a novel. It just needs to be whatever is ebbing and flowing through your brain. It might just be, I need some new coffee. I need some new drapes. I need to clean this. I had such a good night's sleep. I can't stand this pillow. I mean, whatever it is that's going on, it is the story of your life. And oftentimes it's in the reserves, the resources of your subconscious mind, that is waiting to come out. And so you basically, when you do those recovery pages, man and female alike, a lot of men think, oh, well, I can't write. I don't even have a pen or a paper to my name. Well, it's about time you own one, because the story of your life is the story of your life. So I definitely highly recommend engaging in this practice. And even if you just try it, inch by inch, it's cinch, yard by yard, it's hard. Even if you start out with a little bit, it will get a sense of secure attachment with yourself. You'll get to know yourself. You'll get to know what your inner feelings are. I'm so angry. I'm so this, whatever it is. I'm so happy about this. Maybe I should try that. You'll find that the morning recovery pages will give you the solutions. It'll get you in touch with your dreams and desires beyond what you think in your day-to-day waking hours. Because oftentimes all you do is go through your routine. You go through the steps. You go through the paces. You don't get a chance to hear from yourself or hear from your innermost thoughts, because you're not used to listening. But when you write it, you bypass that inner critic and you just get a chance to write. And I would just recommend trying it, even if it just begins with half a page or 1 page. You'll begin to find some very interesting things. Not to mention, you work on your handwriting, but you begin to develop a bond and attachment with yourself, which is very important for independence and breaking free from toxically dependent relationships, oftentimes that are encouraged by a narcissist or a psychopath, meaning that you exercise free will, choice, living in the solution, knowing what it feels like to spread your wings, try some things in some new directions, finding out what your interests are, giving yourself a chance to explore some things. Whether it's up to you to do it on a daily basis, every other day, is really going to be based on your tolerance, but I would definitely recommend it every day. And to be dependent is oftentimes to be powerless. Now, there's healthy interdependence where, you don't have to feel ashamed. You can speak up. Someone isn't going to ridicule you, belittle you, tell you that they matter more than you, or that they are more, they matter more or are more important than you. And try to just, shut you out or stonewall you out, which oftentimes people have had an addiction tolerance to people who are narcissistic because they're so invested in becoming the role that is that of supply rather than being a person in and of their own right. So you really do need to own the fact that you are independent, your own person from head to toe, from finger to fingertip, that you have your own unique mindset, perspective, and values, and you need to really get that and get beyond some self-limiting beliefs like I am a nobody, I am nothing, I am worthless, I am inferior. Those are, the hallmarks of self-limiting beliefs. So to get your footprint out there, you really need to begin to get a secure attachment and really connect with your inner voice and work on your inner voice, work on your affirmations, work on your I am confident, I am a winner. You know, I am no longer thrilled by being abused. I am no longer interested in people who are just full of themselves. I'm no longer attracted to those people who just live a lie or who are superficial. I'm no longer attracted to that. I am comfortable now in my own skin, feeling differently, i.e. feeling secure, feeling focused, feeling at peace, feeling relaxed and harmonious, and I don't need to become dependent on others and their reactions to be happy. I fill my own cup. And that is the beginning of independence and exercising free will. Even if it's saying, I'm going to get up and walk 20 paces to the north, 20 paces to the south, that is an exercise of free will. So look at opportunities to exercise your free will where you can. In other words, if I wasn't so dependent on this person, I would really love to. And if I wasn't so trapped by the situation, I would really love to pursue. And if I didn't feel so small, I could really see myself becoming big by. Begin to ask yourself these types of questions and explore these, especially in situations like your recovery pages. You know, ask yourself these questions to help open up those self-limiting beliefs. In other words, if I wasn't cramped by feeling so inferior, I would really love to pursue. Or if people didn't think I was so silly, I would really love to. ... And begin to open up some of these questions. Begin to get to know yourself. Begin to look at these things that make you tick, and don't feel ashamed. The greatest people who have really made a positive impact in life were basically told that this won't work. I mean, they were going to hear no somewhere on down the line. Someone is going to shoot an arrow in your dreams. I mean, it's just how people think. They're going to tell you it is impossible. But if do you want to prove them otherwise or prove it to yourself? Don't even look at using those other people as a sounding board. Look at it as an important and a part of your own life purpose, because oftentimes people become so glued to fulfilling the life purpose of another that they're not fulfilling the life purpose for themselves and their higher power. And it's knowing that with, unabashed love for connection to their source, unabashed connection to creativity, because when you really look at making change, it's creating change. And when you are creating, you are in connection with the Creator. The Creator delights in you creating. The Creator delights in you making your values heard, working for a cause, working for a mission, working to save the planet, save your community, save yourself. I mean, wherever it is you have to begin, microcosm, macrocosm, wherever it is you see yourself, ask yourself these questions. If people didn't think it was so crazy, I would really love to, and then ... and then look at taking the steps to actually fulfilling those. It is taking the radical action in the direction of your dreams, little by little, inch by inch, it's a cinch, yard by yard, it's hard. So if you can begin to open yourself up on these, you'll begin to open up your independence, and you won't be so triggered or vulnerable or abused or easily manipulated by toxic individuals such as we see with the cluster B or antisocial personality types. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.